Hello everyone, you found the NSX experiment. My name is Josh and today we're doing another viewer suggested video. Mo, it's your week, buddy.
Today's video is made possible by the Mo 8370 and viewers like you. Thank you.
Mo's been a long-time follower of my TSX, but today he wants to know what it's like to drive the NSX. So we're going to oblige. Mo, it's like driving the coolest go-kart you'll ever get your hands on. Alright, I'm kidding. Mo actually had a lot more specifics in mind and he even gave me a checklist of questions. So we're going to go through those in this video. For our normal car comparison, I'm going to use my 2005 Acura TSX. I bought it new with 5 miles and it currently has over 572,000 miles on its original drivetrain. So I'm very familiar with that car. So here we go. As you can imagine, the steering is very responsive. The wheel's a little heavy compared to some of the other cars I've driven in the past, especially the newer models with electric steering. You can really feel the car through the wheel, which I actually like very much. But it's nowhere near the work involved in driving the earlier NSXs, the NA1s, which I got a chance to drive a friend's at NSX Westfest a few months ago for a little bit, and at slower speeds it was way more of a workout than my car was for sure. But once you're up to speed, it's really not so bad. The NSX take corners like you wouldn't believe, Mo. It handles so much better than the TSX. It's such a well-balanced car, the thing was made for taking corners. With the engine and the NSX behind the seats, the balance is incredible. You can easily take corners maybe twice as fast as the TSX if you're pushing her. However, I don't recommend it. This is one area where the NSX kind of lacks a little bit in my opinion. It's a little on the louder side. Mine's a target top, and so the windows sit on top of the weather strip. Instead of sitting in a run channel like the TSX. In fact, at higher speeds, the windows tend to get sucked away from the car, and then the wind really starts whistling. But me personally, I don't think this is a very big deal. The car was built to connect you to the road, and the road noise is just part of the experience. In fact, every chance I get, I drive it with the top off and the windows down anyway. Believe it or not, when she's cold, she's a little mechanical to shift. However, when she warms up, she's smooth as butter. It's a Honda, baby. Here you got the neutral position, one over to the left, first and second, back to neutral, third and fourth, back to neutral, one over to the right, fifth and sixth, back to neutral, 1, 2, over, back, reverse. You got all those gears jammed in a little credit card sized gearbox. So it's a little tight. However, I've had many people tell me that I've let drive the car. It's very easy to drive, it's very easy to shift, it's very enjoyable. The OEM brakes on the NSX are actually pretty dang good. After driving the NSX for a little while and then getting back in the TSX, it surprises me how much more effort's involved in stopping the TSX in comparison. On a side note, I wouldn't mind at one point taking the calipers off, getting them cleaned up and maybe painting them black, maybe doing some yellow on the raised letters, nothing too fancy, but just to dress it up a little bit. The NSX actually wears many hats, but first and foremost, it's just for the sheer enjoyability. I love the car. I love driving the car. I love talking to people about the car. I like giving people rides in the car. I've even let some people drive the car. It's just one of those things that I think everybody should have a chance to experience. It's just an amazing machine. So I was out on a joyride one afternoon, and I was down by the dealerships, and there was this window cleaning crew out in front of one of them, and one of the guys spotted the car, and he steps out into his lane. I was going this way and he was facing this way, so he wasn't in my way or anything. And he does this weird combination of like a full-on touchdown, but then yet a weird warrior yoga pose stance thing. It was a combination of the two, and it was really kind of funny. And as he's watching you by, his whole body turns, so he's like, and it was hilarious. And he held the pose. I was watching him in the mirror. He held the pose for like a whole minute or two after I had passed him. And then he like turns around and he gets his stuff and he's walking up to the dealership. And so I just thought it was funny. I've gotten a lot of reactions about the car in the past, but this was by far the funniest one to me. So I actually turned around and went back. And he was already, like I said, walking back to the dealership, but he heard my car. He turned around and he came back over. And he's like, oh, man, I love your car. And I asked him, I said, do you know what it is? And he goes, oh, yeah, man, it's an NSX. I love these cars. And on a whim, I asked him, do you have 5 minutes? And he looks at me, he's like, are you serious? I said, yeah, get in. And so, I kid you not, zero hesitation. He hands the guy next to him his bucket and all his crap, and he just gets in the car. And I take him on the dealerships, you have like this 4 or 5 mile loop that they take customers on test drives for new cars. So I took him on this loop, and the whole time he's just taking selfies and videos, and oh man, this is so cool, I love this car, oh my God, you know, he's freaking out. And it was like, he goes, yo, you made my month, you made my month. And it was actually a really fun and really cool experience. And I've actually done it a couple times since then. And I really enjoy that kind of stuff, you know, letting people, because I mean, you hardly ever see these cars on the road at all, much less get to sit in one or get to take a ride in one, and the reactions are just priceless. I'm actually thinking about doing a segment on something like that, setting up some GoPros in the car and just drive around and see if I can find it like an Integra kit or a Civic kit or something. And you know, all they got to do is pass one simple test. Do you know what it is? And if they know it's an NSX, boom, it's on. I also use the yellow car as a sort of therapy of sorts. It's fantastic to drive, and there's mountain roads all over the place up here. Granted, you have to drive a little bit to get to them, but it's totally worth the time. And this far north up in Boise, in the summertime, the sun doesn't set until like 10:30 at night, so evening drives are just fantastic. And then there's my 5-year-old son, Luke. When he was a baby, his first word was car. No kidding. Much to mommy's dismay, car was the first word that came out of his mouth. Not mommy, car. But it was funny, he didn't really know the difference at the time, and anything with wheels on it was a car. I'd be wheeling the trash can out to the sidewalk and he'd be all, car, 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 car. It was hilarious. And he's actually the reason I call it the yellow car. When I first brought it home, he didn't know it was an Acura NSX yet, and he just referred to it as the yellow car all the time. It's all he talked about. The yellow car this and the yellow car that. I actually came out to, was walking down the hallway and saw him at the garage door with it open and his head was out. And I asked him, I said, Luke, what are you doing? He said, I'm just looking at the yellow car. He would stand there just staring at it. It was hilarious. So Luke's actually the one that named it the yellow car, and it just kind of stuck. A couple times a month, I'll saddle up his car seat in the car and we'll go up in the mountains in some little mountain town somewhere, about an hour away or so. We'll stop and get pie or ice cream, and he just likes driving it. He loves driving with the top off. He loves the car. And so it's a really great bonding experience for us, you know, father-son time. He loves it, especially afterwards when I take him Hot Wheels hunting at some of the local retail stores. With my new short work week, I don't drive either car very much, actually. The TSX I only drive on Wednesdays and Thursdays now, and it's only like 38.5 miles round trip. So compared to what I was doing, the TSX is pretty much just sitting in the garage at this point. The NSX I drive on Fridays. The guys at work call it Ferrari Friday, which is a better change from, you know, calling it a Corvette all the time just to irritate me. Yes. Anyway, so I drive the NSX on Fridays, but I also drive it on the weekends. I drive it to car meets, Cars and Coffee. I take Luke out to those car meets. We go up into the mountains and go for our father-son drives, Hot Wheels hunting. So actually, now that I think about it, I drive the NSX more than I do the TSX. So technically, the NSX is my new daily. Mo, I hope that answers all your questions for now. I appreciate you taking the time to reach out to me in the comments. If anybody else out there has some comments or questions about the car and would like a suggested video about it, sound off in the comments below. Other than that, everybody, I hope you're having a great day. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate it all. Tell all your friends. See you next week.